So we have something new in the garage today, which is probably going to occupy the place or the space for the next week or so. And 325Ci E46 convertible. So I will have to really check a few things. Already can see that this AC line cap is missing. There is another one that is also missing. We also have the positive terminal open. This is usual. The power steering cap has an O-ring, and it also has a vent hole, so one out of those two or both of them are letting the power steering fluid out. It hasn't really been maintained that well as far as the engine bay space goes. It's all dusty, dirty, oily in places, and I suppose that's how people maintain or keep their cars. Let's get it up in the air and see what is going on down there. There is oil on the sway bar and on the power steering. No, that's the transmission cooler hoses. So I'm assuming this is a power steering fluid getting here. There is a little bit of oil right here. That is engine oil, judging by the color and all. So there is more of it here. So this thing is just ripped. So we have a couple of transmission cooler pipes and hoses here, and there is an attachment point right here. And so this side is kind of broken, and it's kind of a plastic bracket. So what happens is this pipe and the hose moving around. So right there. So this thing is supposed to be sitting. I'm blocking the light. Oh, the engine is still hot. So it's supposed to be sitting like this right here. But this being broken is probably making this whole racket. And noise. Well, enough. Stop having fun. Start doing things. So the next thing is the engine mounts. And that is the engine mount on the left side. And here's the engine mount on the right side. So that is just something that I have never seen personally on a BMW. So if you move here, so here's the engine mounts, and that's what they look like. So the upper part of the engine mount is still attached to the engine, or the engine, whatever that arm, support arm. These are fluid filled, I suppose, unless it's something else, but there is fluid inside of this. and well, this one either didn't open up or there's no more fluid in it. The transmission mounts. So the transmission mounts on this car, I've seen something like this once in my life, but probably not as bad as this. That one right there, it's kind of difficult to get to show, but it's just in pieces. And the other side is also squashed and cracked and everything, but that one is just totally in pieces. So this control arm bushing, both of them are just totally destroyed. It's just like I can just probably pull it off with my hand if I try, but both sides are in the same condition. Also seems like this one is sort of really sliding off the control arm. And moving on to, I think, the last part of this update, review or report is the power steering. So all this mess is the power steering fluid, and what I found out, naturally it's all over the oil filter housing and dripping down and everything. What I found out is that this hose right here that attaches to the power steering pump is just cracked or cracking right here. I don't think it's all the way through, I have a plug in it, but it is cracking, and this was just the hose was just moving around on the fitting. The other hose that is also covered, all covered in fluid and naturally dirt, is this one. This is the second power steering hose, and right here, just right there, there's a crack. So I suppose if I pull it a little bit harder it will just break. Well, maybe not, but it's cracked like that. And there's another crack right here, but I'm guessing this is the original BMW part that came with the car, and this clamp is what the factory uses. So people, when they replace hoses, don't use these clamps, they just use the warm drive style. So I'm guessing this is the original hose, and the other hose that I just mentioned earlier didn't have those clamps, and judging by the branding right there. So I suppose that's pretty much it for now, I guess. And I guess the last thing about this is, since I removed the belt, the drive belt, this is the pulley here. I wonder if the microphone is going to pick up the noise, but it's totally dry, has a bit of a play, and the tensioner not that much better. If those go well, the bearings are dry and bad and all, but if this plastic pulley falls apart while driving, that would be a small disaster. Not mentioning that you are going to get stranded, and most likely, if you don't notice that in time, the water pump will stop spinning, and you may also overheat the engine. So here is the oil pan gasket, and this is the condition of it. It's just, I mean, there is no chance this can actually seal, because that is not rubber anymore. That is just rock hard plastic, and it wouldn't seal anything at all. Well, I knew, I just didn't remember. That's what happens when you get older. You stop remembering things, you start forgetting things.